The lone tough talker, Curtis Wright. There is no substitute.
First cup of coffee, and I've got Curtis Wright, so I'm pumped.
It's gonna be a good morning meeting. We're gonna have a great time together.
Hey, this is Tino the Liberal.
Hey, Tino the Liberal.
I listen to you every morning.
And you're a liberal?
I'm a liberal. I'm a diehard liberal.
Well, sir, you got to take over the Democratic Party then. We're back live here on The Beat. I'm Curtis Wright. 8:35 in the morning. Thank you again to District Attorney John David for coming in. And we will be putting up a special note on our Facebook page. We'll be putting up, of course, the interview on our website, curtiswrightonline.com. Just click on segments. And I hope you, again, pay attention to this. This is a very important issue. It was a very important argument to be made before the state Supreme Court. Very unique situation. And I'm proud that John David has followed through once again with what he told folks, if elected as a district attorney, he would do. When an important issue came up, he would fight for what he believed to be right for his district. And by the way, folks, this, as he said, very important point. It's an important issue for all of North Carolina, and I'm very impressive that he in fact stood his ground and made his argument. And that's what we do. That's our system, taking it before the North Carolina Supreme Court. Good job. Looking forward to the decision, and I know they know as well. They wouldn't have taken it up that this is an important issue to be settled, and some guidance from the court, as he said. On mic with us, again, I told you, a very busy day, and it is, starting out with Congresswoman Elmers, and on we have gone here today. Now on mic with us, back with us, wanted to grab some time and get an update from the campaign trail. Another candidate for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor, Tony Gurley. He says we have the highest taxes in the Southeast, an irresponsible system of unfunded mandates that's burdening our counties, and a stagnant unemployment rate. It's time for new leadership, he said. And Tony is here today with us. Again, Republican candidate for Lieutenant Governor. He's here with us today to, again, share his thoughts and his vision for North Carolina. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You know, you spoke about a stagnant unemployment rate. We've seen it gone down 0.1%, and we have no idea how many people have left the so-called marketplace. Unfunded mandates burdening our counties, highest taxes, and here we are in the midst of this, and our governor comes out with this new idea to raise taxes. It's almost beyond belief. I don't often have nothing. I didn't have a response, but when I first saw it come out, I said, she can't be proposing a tax increase in the middle of all this.
Well, and you said it correctly when you said it's just an idea. It's not even a plan. She doesn't describe any results that we would get for this huge tax increase that she's proposing. It's just an idea, and the most absurd part of that was her being hailed as a leader for getting out in front of a tax increase with no plan behind it. That's not leadership.
You know, I was talking with Senator Goldsby early, and we reiterated the fact that she has based this plan on, again, you know, it's about the children. We're going to save the educational system from these terrible Republicans who slashed and burned and teachers got fired. But she doesn't tell the people of North Carolina. Number one, it's Barack Obama and the federal government that caused any of the shortfalls. The difference between her plan and the plan that ultimately got approved, the budget, I should say, by a veto override, I think it was about, what, 2%, 2.5%?
2%.
And they hired 46 more hundred or some teachers.
Right. And you know, I'm a county commissioner in Wake County, and so we've been dealing with that very directly. The predictions were that we were going to lay off just in Wake County over 2,000 teachers. We ended up hiring 300 more than we had before.
Mm-hmm. You know, and this is something I've talked about before, and I'd like you to speak to this because of your unique experience as a county commissioner. You know, these silos, if you will. the federal government here, the state government here, and the local government here. I, first of all, believe in states' rights. We've got to take back more power to the states. But we've also, have to have some sort of understanding or cooperation or at least honesty about one does one thing and just lets the, what rolls downhill, roll down on the other guy. And the public has no idea how this all works.
Well, not only does the public not understand, a lot of the legislators, the federal and the state level legislators don't understand. One of the reasons that I'm running for lieutenant governor is to be able to work more closely with the state legislature. I have had many legislators tell me that they would not have voted a certain way had they known the effect that their vote would have on local, county, and municipal governments.
We'll talk a little bit further about that. As a member of the Council of State and Lieutenant Governor, will you look into or at least advocate the idea of, and we've talked about it for years, but it's never really been done, unfunded mandates on our counties? In other words, there has to be a restructuring of responsibilities. And then with that restructuring, of course, will come a restructuring of where the money goes and the tax structure and all the other things.
Mm-hmm. Well,
see, I still believe the best government is the government closest to home. And I think our government, state government, is involved in way too much of not only taking money from us, but taking money, then telling counties how to do it, or local municipalities how to do things, but never sending the money along with it.
Oh, and there are, dozens of those instances that we could show you. I mean, recently, a lot of it has to do with the counties being required to provide facilities for state government. The court system, for example, the counties provide the facilities for the judges and all of the court personnel and the defense attorney, public defenders. So there's lots of instances of issues that state has been covering, and then as their budgets get tighter, they pass those responsibilities on to counties and municipalities.
Well, and they also, another thing, I mean, if I'm mischaracterizing, please correct me, but what happens also is they may decide to cut back on the amount of money, but say to you guys at the local level, oh, no, you got to keep everything the same, right? And then you ultimately, as a county, have to either fill the hole or decide how important something is. I mean, it's still a little murky and all that, and largely you get dumped on at the county level.
But you at the county and local level, though, you do have to take a stand. And one thing that we have done for the past 6 or 8 years at least is we have a standard policy that if there is a program that is paid for by state or federal money and that state and federal money disappears, then the program disappears.
Very good. Very good.
So,
and, other counties, we have asked that question over the years of other county organizations, other county representatives, and they're all murky on that idea. And they say, well, we got to continue to do it. And see, you've just told us that you don't have to continue.
No, you do not have to do it. Now, some of the state, unfunded mandates like the office space that I was talking about, we have to do that. They tell you have to do it. Most of the things that are federal and state money that pass through the county, you do not have to continue those programs. It's like the old, police officer program where they hired, 100,000 police officers supposedly, and it was just to pay them for a year, and then all of the local governments were to continue. If you took the money to hire them for a year, you promised to continue it forever. Those are the kind of programs that will bankrupt local government.
Stay with us. We're here with Tony Gurley. He is running for Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina on the Republican side. I'm Curtis Wright on the beat. We have lots more to talk about. Stay with us.
You're listening to Curtis Wright on the beat on 980 The Wave and 640 WFNC.
We're back live here on the beat on mic with Tony Gurley, a Republican candidate for lieutenant governor of the state of North Carolina. He's a pharmacist, a small business owner, leader in his community, of course, by being a county commissioner as well, and involved in the healthcare, of course, industry. And Tony, welcome back. And Tony, you know, I said all that for a reason, because so much of this political debate has been these last couple years or more about looking at candidates with more experience in the private sector, more candidates with life experience in these major issues, so we can meet the challenges that we're facing. And, you know, you're a small business owner, successful small business owner. You're in the healthcare industry. You've been a county commissioner. You have that broad range of experience that I believe, you know, you can really deal with a lot of these challenges, understand the challenge, first of all, and then deal with it. And, you know, you made a comment before we went to break. Take a stand, you did as a county commissioner. And the other issue that I believe that North Carolinians, a lot of us are looking for, is our government to take a stand against the federal government for policy, for burdens and things that we don't feel is in our best interest.
Right. Well, and some of those are, for example, the Obamacare health plan. I heard you earlier say you had Renee Elmers on this morning, and I admire her, you know, coming from the healthcare background as I have, stepping up and taking a stand that, no, we as citizens don't want these huge changes in healthcare forced upon us. It's at the state level. I regret that North Carolina hasn't joined the lawsuit as our legislature wanted to do against Obamacare. But certainly we need to stand up for, as was said earlier, you know, more of the states' rights issues, something that is smaller government and has less burden on us as individuals. Allow the individuals to exercise their rights instead of government forcing everything on us.
Talk to us, or go further in talking to us about your priorities, your vision for North Carolina. I mean, what are the things that you really want to be involved with when elected lieutenant governor?
And the position of lieutenant governor is perfect for allowing someone to pursue programs like small business. I am a small business owner. I believe that removing the obstacles, the red tape, and the bureaucracy, and the excessive tax burden, if we can remove that from the small business arena, allow individuals to open their own businesses, encourage that will help the job growth. That will help get us out of this economic recession that we're in now. I still work every day. Every day I'm running my pharmacies, and I see the obstacles that government places in front of me that prevents me from serving my customers the way that I should and the way that they expect me to.
And, you know, I think that's what's so damaging for us that have been in the private sector, owned our own businesses, or have to run our own businesses. You know, I listen to this president, I listen to other politicians argue or present to people and then argue to our citizens about the policy that they want to advocate or push forward on it. I mean, shove down our throats, let's put it that way. Okay? And you know as well as I do, you go, no, that's wrong. That's going to cause me to have more costs or more burdens, more hurdles, and someone's not going to get, someone's going to be fired if it gets bad enough, or certainly someone's not going to get hired.
Or even worse, the customer or the patient in my case isn't going to be provided the level of service that I could if I were just, you know, not burdened by these government restrictions.
You know, and so many people make the comment, and Tyler, my producer, and I were just talking about this morning, the people don't understand. And I agree with that. But I believe it's our job. And that's why, you know, we always encourage more people, more candidates. Let's get and encourage candidates and support candidates that have more real life experience. They've been through it. People who have dealt with these issues, instead of a, quote, typical politician type. And then let's go out and educate people. Let's talk to them. Let's spend the time to educate them and then say, go out and educate your neighbor.
And the public is responsive to that message. I mean,
I agree.
The public understands that the local community, small business owners are there, providing a service that's needed. If the service isn't needed, they're not going to be there. And the public is very receptive to that message. And I agree, it is incumbent on us as small business owners and to become involved in the political process. I actually sold my businesses after being there for 15 years and went back in 1999 to get a law degree. So to sort of learn how the system works to enable me to participate as a small business owner and pharmacist in the political arena. I was elected to the Board of Commissioners in Wake County during my second year of law school.
And, the other thing, I know I often get myself in trouble for this, but I'm sorry. I'll say it again. Bureaucrats shouldn't be involved in business and economic development. The private sector should be the one driving the bus, and the government should be the one saying, well, how can I support those efforts? How can I, if there's barriers in the way, get them out of the way while being still, the responsibility to the citizens for their best interest. But, we've got to turn this whole structure that we've allowed to be put in place on its head. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be the free market driving business and economic development and telling government this is what we need to do if we want more jobs, if we want a better economy, if we want businesses to expand. And
economic development, the best programs are those that go out to businesses and, just as you said, ask, what do you need as a business to prosper? What do you need to hire more people, sell more of your product, provide more of your service? And then the role of government should be to make sure that the atmosphere or the business environment is existing that will allow the private entities to prosper. A lot of times that is, and government does have a role in that, because government's role, and especially like community colleges, is essential to help businesses grow.
Are you, when you're out and speaking to folks, I'm not just about the importance of the position of lieutenant governor, but are you also educating them that in North Carolina, I explained it this way to Congresswoman Renee Elmers, it's like the sun coming out from behind the clouds when the new leadership came into the State House, and we moved forward in a positive way, but we still have a barrier. And it's not just the governor. It's the Council of State. Are they getting that, or are you connecting with people? Are you talking to them more about that? That this is the last barrier this is an important barrier, I should say, that we must correct?
Well, that's the reason that I'm running for lieutenant governor. I'm here in Raleigh and Wake County. I've been a commissioner for 10 years. I've seen how state government works. I've worked with the legislators. But this last year with the Republican legislators in office, it's sort of like I see the sun coming out from behind the clouds, but the executive branch is the roadblock. We have to send Beverly Perdue and Walter Dalton home, and that's when I explain that to people that just because we won the legislature doesn't mean that we're in control and can do all of the things that we need to do. And people understand that. The Council of State positions probably less so, but definitely that still remains a roadblock to North Carolina's success.
Tony Gurley is a Republican running for Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, and I hope you'll go to his website. It's Tony Gurley, GURLEY.com. You can find out about his background, his position on the major issues and challenges facing our state. He's got a lot of video there, a lot of interviews there for you, so you can actually really get to know him, and we'll give you updates on where he's appearing here in southeastern North Carolina. Tony, thanks for spending the time today.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
I'm Curtis Wright here on The Beat. Stay with us when we get back. Holy smokes, it's 9 o'clock. We have our Pender Spotlight, getting the news from Pender County and beyond. Lots more to talk about.